Okay, let's go to page 149, and this is section 11.9. So this lesson is just on a handful of helpful hints. So as you do some geometry problems, there are certain things that will help you to make things more clear and things to know. So first, you need to be aware of when you have parallel lines and they're transversal. So you have theta, alpha, phi, and beta. So you need to recognize the vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so angle alpha is congruent to angle theta. Vertical angles are congruent, and the supplementary angle equal to 180. The same side angle equal to 180. So angle phi plus angle beta equal to 180. Same side angle is 180. And also need to know the alternate interior angles. So angle alpha is congruent to angle beta. They are alternate interior angles. You also need to be aware of the corresponding angles. So angle theta is congruent to angle beta. So alternate interior angles are congruent, corresponding angles are congruent, vertical angles are congruent, and these two adjacent angles will be supplementary and equal to 180. So those are some basic facts it's good to know. Okay, now there are some basic way to show that the angle is 90 degrees. Okay, the first one is the angle is inside a semicircle. So let's say if you have a circle, okay, and you cut in half. So any angle, any inscribed angle, that would be 90 degrees. So if you can try this, right? So for example, if you do that, okay. So if an inscribed angle is inscribed in a semicircle, then it would be 90 degrees. Okay, and again you can try this side too. So you can any point on here will form a right angle. So again, all this would be right angle. Okay, so you can try any point. Okay, so all this would be. So again, any triangle that's inscribed in a semicircle would be the right angle. So that's one way to tell if it's a right angle. Okay, now another way to tell that there is a right angle is if you have the intersection lines. So if you have two lines intersect and the two angles are congruent, because again it's a common sense, right? Because a straight angle is 180, and if you cut in two and they are equal, then have to be 90 and 90. Okay, so this is another way of telling that this is 90 degrees. Okay. So again, for intersection lines, if two adjacent angles are equal, then they have to be 90. Okay, now the way to tell if it's a right triangle. Okay. So this is page 151, and the way to show that a triangle is a right triangle. Okay, so first one is show that two angles of the triangles are complementary. Okay. So again, if you have a triangle, okay. So if two angles add up equal to 90, let's say if you have 50 and 40. So if these two angles add up equal to 90, then this must be equal to 90. Okay. And therefore this has to be a right triangle. So this is number one. Okay, number two, show that it satisfies the Pythagorean theorem. So if you have a triangle, okay, if you have a triangle that is 3, 4, 5, okay, then that would be right triangle, right? So, okay, number three, if you have a triangle that's congruent to the other one, so let's say if you have these, right, again, let's use 3, 4, 5, okay? And if you have another triangle, okay, that is similar, so that's if it's 6, 8, 10, okay? So this is twice as high, this is twice as high, this is twice as high. So this has to be similar triangle. So if they are similar triangle, their corresponding angle has to be congruent. Therefore, this would be equal to that, okay? That's another way to tell, okay? Or if it's congruent, let's say if your another triangle is 3, 4, 5. So if you know that this is a right angle, and then if this is congruent to that, then this must be a right angle. Okay, number four. Another way to show a triangle is a right triangle is you show that the median of a triangle is equal to half of the side which is drawn. Okay. So if you have a triangle, and you have the median. So if the median is half of one of the side, okay, if the median is half of the side is drawn, then this would be x and this would be x, and that means this. Notice this is all this equal, right? That means this has to be the center of the radius, okay? So that would be the center of the radius. So you can, if the median is half of the side that is drawn, okay, then this would be a right angle right over here. Okay. Now let's go over the way to show that two lines or segments are perpendicular. Okay. So the first way is if you have a circle and a tangent line. Okay. And you have a tangent line. So you have a circle with a tangent. Okay. The way to show that it's perpendicular is if you go from the center and you draw to the point of tangency. So the radius that from the center to point of tangency, this will always give you the perpendicular line. Okay, another way, so this is number one. So number two, this is on page 151. Okay, number two, to show that it's a perpendicular is if a line segment, if the segments are radius and the chord of a circle. Okay, so if you have a circle, okay, and if you have a chord, okay, and you have the radius or diameter bisects. So if it bisects, then this would be a right angle. Okay, so you can need just some basic things from geometry. Okay. Okay, another way is, so the number three. So if you have a triangle, and if you can show that this is the altitude, okay, for whatever method, so if this is the altitude, then this would be a right angle, this would be perpendicular. So again, altitude is perpendicular to the side, right? So if you can show that this is the altitude, okay, so if you can show that this is the altitude, then you know that this is perpendicular. Okay. So again, these are just some basic information that can help you to solve geometry problem. Also, another very useful technique is whenever you have a triangle, you can draw additional lines like parallel lines or perpendicular lines. So parallel lines and perpendicular lines are very helpful when you try to solve geometry problems.